Good day, Virgin Islanders, at home and abroad. Today is an awesome day in the Virgin Islands. You know, from time I was a child, I can remember going on the racetrack there where the hospital used to be in St. Thomas and cheering on fan favorites like Plane Crash to victory. It was always an exciting time to be able to go out there with family and friends and see the revelry and the competitiveness of all the players and of all the gamblers making their day's money betting on the horses. Since that time, racing has grown in the Virgin Islands. We've moved the tracks from downtown Charlotte Amalie into the country. The St. Croix track was expanded. We dug out the middle and created the model of St. Croix in there, and we renamed the track as we know it today, the Randolph Doc James Racetrack. Racing has been very much delayed in the territory for the last couple of years, and we've been trying to do everything we can to make sure that we bring back horse racing. Not only bring back horse racing, but bring back the industry that surrounds it. The breeding, which is very important. We'd love to see our own breeds of thoroughbreds being produced here in the Virgin Islands. The training. It is so important that we involve the university and high school and getting our people off of the streets through the Department of Labor to become farriers and trainers and groomers and really being certified and creating that industry. All of the agricultural support that goes towards getting the hay, getting the feed, and helping these horse owners to really produce the best we can. It has been such an incredible pastime for us. I can still remember in the 1980s, you couldn't drive downtown Christiansted or Frederiksted or any of the byways without seeing young men astride horses, hoping that one day, that they too will get an opportunity to either ride in this. Today is good because people like Elmo Mahal Barnes have stopped me at least 100 times. Mahal, we got it together. When is there going to be horse racing? I've sat with enthusiasts like my good friend, Dr. Olaf Branko Hendrickson, and talking about the old times and what horse racing was like before. We've had them all here in Government House, talking about how do we get horse racing to where it needs to be. But more than ever, I think, horse racing is the celebration of Virgin Islanders. It's the ability to go to the track and not only be entertained by the fabulous races that we see, but for families to do things together. I too remember the days back in the day in the 80s when people would go to Marianne or Franklin and buy matching outfits to promenade the track. Because it was a horse race, it was a fashion show, but it was also a musical experience. Plenty to do at the track. We want to see that come back. Today, I am proud to announce that we've reached an agreement with VIGL, and in this such agreement, we have separated the tracks and the agreement that was originally purported by Governor Mapp into two separate segments. Before the track was, the deal was organized and the contract was put in place to manage the tracks together. What we have sought to do now is to, as quickly as possible, get the St. Croix track off and going because it's not really a part of the legal proceedings that are happening in St. Thomas. As most of you know, there is a pending lawsuit with Southland against having slot machines and video lottery machines on the track. So what we did was we bifurcated the agreement, which the agreement allows the governor of the Virgin Islands to do, splitting the same arrangements into two pieces. So we can move forward with VIGL on the St. Croix track with all of the requirements that were set there before. The amount of the purses guaranteed per year, the amount of the purses guaranteed per race day, the rebuilding of the barns, the resurfacing of the tracks, of the track, and all of the other quarantine barns, and everything else that was in the original agreement is now set in two. It also was edited to make sure that we know exactly what permits need to be executed before the contract actually becomes active. As most of you can remember, the original agreement said that the actual contract is not active until all the permits are gathered. So we sat down, we got it together, and we reached an agreement in which there is a list of those contracts and what will be gathered in order to activate the contracts that makes all of the other provisions then valid. So I don't want to talk too much about this. I want to get it done. I have the agreement before me today. I'm going to put my signature on here, and I'm going to give an opportunity for Mr. Lance Griffith, who is also joined by Jason Williams, to give some comments on the horse racing and what we expect. Lance.
Hey, Governor.
Witness.
Witness.
No, you don't need to
I don't
witness.
need it.
Okay, good. Lance, if you would share some words with the public.
Well, it's been a long road and a trying road. Ever since I came to the Virgin Islands in 2015 and we started our projects with the Caravel Hotel and Casino downtown, and then also the Company House Hotel. We've always had a special place for the racetracks, and we wanted to see the developments go forward, the construction going forward. Because we feel like that's a prime facility not only for the horse race community, but also for St. Croix in particular, to have a facility that allows the people of the Virgin Islands to really experience new entertainment, new possibilities. And that's what really made us move forward with the horse racing projects as a whole. I'd like to thank the governor and his staff for all the hard work that's gone into this amendment and what it means to allow us to continue the path forward in the horse racing and also the development of St. Croix. And we look forward to moving expeditiously, and we look forward to really starting an industry in the U.S. Virgin Islands. One of the main points, like the governor said, is the training and the youth development is something that we really want to emphasize, that is the most important part of this whole development to make it successful long term, is to make sure that we have a good pipeline from the Virgin Islands in order to supply all of our team members that will need to make this a successful project. I know we have a large contingent of horsemen that are very interested in this project. There's a large contingent of horsemen on the track right now that are interested in this project, and we appreciate their patience and their ability to move forward with us and with the governor and his team, so that we can facilitate this construction project in a very expeditious fashion. It's a new world, and we're really looking forward to making this work. So I have no other so Governor, I'll turn it back over.
Thank you, Lance. And we really want to thank VIGL for being such a great partner with the Virgin Islands. All of the wonderful concerts and everything else we did leading up to this was really great. So thank you and for your support of horse racing. And I really want to emphasize to the public how much of a commitment that this company and this gentleman has to the Virgin Islands and the racing community. All of the stuff that was done before was done without a contract, essentially in good faith. They expanded the track. They got the sand in order to relay the track. So thank you, and we look forward to having horse racing in the Virgin Islands in the near future. In doing so, though, I must mention that it is going to become a construction site. Within the next 60 days or so, we're going to start to mobilize the construction on the track. We're going to have the sand relayed so in order that we can have the track surface down. But in order to get this project done as quickly as possible, we're going to need the full cooperation of the horse owners, and we're going to have a vacating of the track for a set period of time in order to make room for repairs to the barns, construction material that's going to be there, heavy equipment that's going to be brought on. So St. Croix is a check. St. Thomas, St. John, I know all the questions. What about us? So all of the provisions for the St. Thomas, St. John track remain in the contract and separate. However, we are at the point of signing a non-binding agreement with Southland that would settle the lawsuit against the government of the Virgin Islands. In that non-binding agreement, there are some provisions that would have to be ratified by the legislature, which we won't share at this time. But essentially what the agreement does is it would allow for Southland to build the entire track in St. Thomas and all operations, and would allow VIGL to maintain sole ownership of all track promotership in the Virgin Islands. So we'd still have a unified track system, but the lease would be different because Southland would be doing all of the work that is necessary. We are very close to signing that decision. As I said, there are some legal things that have to happen and have to be ratified by the legislature. We were trying to do it together, but that's taken a little longer than expected. We already have shootings of what the horse track would look like, how many people with capacity, where the barns and the quarantine barns, the vet center, the jockey center, everything would go. So we're working on that now. So that's a little bit more trickier. We should have something back to you solid within 60 days as well. That will move the St. Thomas track on at the same pace that St. Croix is going. So that is going well. And I don't foresee any difficulties in that. Other than that, I would just like to say I'd open it up for the press for any questions that they may have. And I hope to have horse racing soon. If people want to know, within 60 days, I'm advised that we'll start the construction on the St. Croix track. The first thing that's going to happen is that we're going to spread that surface so we have a running surface again. But we are going to be meeting with the Horsemen Association of St. Croix to discuss that matter further, and look forward to hearing some more about the St. Thomas track and how we're moving forward on that. Any questions? Lasiba Knight.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How are we doing, gentlemen? So my first question pertains to where are we in our permitting process with the St. Croix track? I understand that we had recently gotten good news back from the FAA with their concerns about, the height of certain construction going forward. So I'm just wondering, Mr. Griffith, if you could give us an overview of, because, the contract is predicated on when certain permits are obtained by VIGL. So I'm just wondering where we are in that permitting process.
So we do have the CZM and the stormwater plan, and we also do have, we've received final approval from the FAA in July of 2020. I'd like to try and forget that year, but we did receive approval back in 2020. So we have those. So really it's just now all with the U.S. Virgin Islands and the governmental agencies that is submitting the construction documents and getting all the rest of the remaining permits that are spelled out now in the amendment. So.
And then keeping in that same vein, we have about a 60-day window for construction to start. Are you going to be taking over formally the lease at the Randall Dock James racetrack again? Because I understand last year you gave that up in December, so that's coming back.
So I think there's still some details on that aspect to iron out with the government and its team. However, we're focused on getting the construction going and getting that moving forward. And as part of that construction, obviously laying the surface down and doing things of that nature. So I don't have the exact answer that you'd want right now, but we are working on that, and the timing on all that works as well. So.
And then,
I'd just like to clarify too, because this is often confused. There was never a lease. There was a use agreement that was signed by the government of the Virgin Islands and VIGL in order to allow them to have control of the track. So in order for them to start construction, that will have to happen once again. But until we have an effectuated lease from property and procurement, that will not be finalized. That's a part of the major agreement that we need to get some of these permits in place in order for it to be done. A lot of the work that was done before, like I said, was in good faith of BIGL. They didn't actually have an active contract that would enforce the work that they had already completed.
Gotcha. And then, Mr. Griffith, just like one last question for you.
Yes.
If you could give us an overview of your timeline for construction, it could be as idealized as, like, we understand that this isn't necessarily what will happen, but what is your timeline?
Well, we had long discussions about that with the government and his team as well. The reality of today's supply chain is totally different than what it was even 12 months from now, or 12 months ago. So we're trying to get a good understanding of that, along with all the projects that the governor has going on in the Virgin Islands right now with the large construction companies. They're pretty busy. And to give you a firm timeline, prior to, we were looking at the stadium timeline, 18 to 24 months from the time that we started digging to the time that we got it done. And it also depends on timing of when we can start the groundwork and everything like that. So, Rain, unfortunately, the timing doesn't always work well. September is not the best time to start digging. However, the optimal timeline is 18 to 24 months to really have the full stadium built and ready for occupancy. So that's kind of what we're still trying to achieve. But to give specifics right now, I can't go into that until we really understand the current climate and the construction company's needs and
Governor, I just have a question for you. Initially, when the discussion was being put forward to separate the two tracks, the two districts, St. Thomas and St. Croix, your administration was against that idea.
Yes, we still are.
Yeah. And so I'm wondering how we arrived at the present day. I understand that things were, it's a negotiation between the government and Southland. Everyone has their own, their own point of view. But
Right.
How did it come? Because without Southland digging in their heels, I don't see you moving forward with just St. Croix. So I'm wondering how we ended up at this point and how that negotiation has been evolving.
So we never really cared who developed the tracks in terms of the infrastructure. What we really care about is who the promoter is. And I got a good call this morning from my good friend Black Seed over in St. Thomas asking me, Gov, we split in the tracks. No, we have the same promoter still. So one of the linchpins of this deal that we're doing with Southland is that VIGL has to be the promoter on the track. They don't want to be the promoter on the track. They just want to be maintain the exclusivity of their gaming rights on the island of St. Thomas, St. John. So that's the main piece there. So we'll be all of the same. We won't have competing race days. We'll have purses that look alike, and we'll have enough races in the territory. I think I'm forgetting how many races are guaranteed in St. Thomas every year. And of course, Mr. Jason Williams, who is the manager of that, will be controlling all of that and making sure that we have seamless horse racing and one racing system, one racing commission in the Virgin Islands.
All right. Thank you.
I don't know if we had phone calls in or anybody else on the phone. Go ahead on the phone. Go ahead. You have a reporter on the phone? Go ahead. Go ahead. So we're having a little problem with the receiver on the phone. We'll make ourselves available to the press after the press conference for any other questions that they may have. Once again, we're really looking forward to seeing horse racing return to the territory as an industry as well as a cultural pastime that we have had the pleasure of doing for so many years. It was a long road getting here, but I really would like to thank VIGL for all the hard work that they've been doing in coming to this resolve on this piece of it. Like I said, within the next 60 days, we should have an announcement for St. Thomas, setting us right on path to having horse racing there, up and running as quickly as possible. Thank you very much for joining us today, and have a fantastic Wednesday.
Greetings, Virgin Islanders. I am Lieutenant Governor Tregenza Roach. COVID-19 continues to be a serious public health threat. Many of us are going about our business as if the disease were a thing of the past. Regular double-digit surges in the number of positive cases tell us otherwise. Too many are disregarding safety protocols, increasing the community spread and putting lives at risk. As a result, there have been required closures in a number of government offices and private businesses. I understand that there is some reluctance regarding the vaccine. I personally took my time and did my research so that I could understand how the vaccine works and why getting it was my best protection. It was the right choice. Please get vaccinated and adhere to the orders set by Governor Albert Bryan Jr. and the Department of Health's guidelines regarding mask wearing, social distancing, and proper hygiene protocols. Take your best shot. Get the vaccine.
Hi, this is your Senator, Samuel Carrion. And I am proud to be a Virgin Islander working hard every day to serve you. Because here, we look out for each other. That's why I'm asking you to take Titi Carmen and your primo Jose to get the COVID vaccine. Some say they may ask too many questions. ¿De dónde viene? ¿Cómo llegaste aquí? But that's not true. Only your name, your age, and your phone number. That's it. No ID needed. Así que por favor, vayan a vacunarse para proteger a nuestra gente y a nuestra comunidad.